What's up, squad? It's Brandon from the Bantu Sun. Thank you so much for joining me today. So, I just got through reading up on an article where unfortunately Mali has begun to confiscate gold stockpiles held by the major global gold miner Barrick Gold, which is operating within their country. Now, this is it's interesting on many fronts, but overall, it's very unfortunate. So this dispute, and some will call the Mali government a junta. It doesn't matter to me what do you call it, but this is one of the original breakaway countries that we've talked about, along with Niger and Burkina Faso and Chad, countries that are seeking to break away from France influence, and they were one of the early forerunners in Mali. And these Sahelian nations, these countries on the Sahel, and they basically talked about French mismanagement and security threats were their primary concerns on why they kicked out the French. So we'll just take that on face value. And usually I look at this thing and it's just unfortunate because this is basically a form of nationalization. Supposedly, this is how a lot of countries operate, especially in Africa, where you have don't have the technological development there yet. So what the country does on grand projects is they'll partner with somebody that can do the job. In this case, mining gold. Now, Barrick Gold is one of the largest gold mining companies in the world, and their CEO Mark Bristow is actually of South African origin, I believe. I knew that he had a smaller mining company. He did so well. Barrick Gold being the bigger miner. And this is also talked on another point about all of these Canadian gold mining companies that really operate. They're Canadian, but they operate in West Africa mining gold. So Barrick Gold obviously being a major player, but they took Mark Bristow's company, they acquired it, and they made him CEO of Barrick Gold um, because of the success he had, they want to replicate that on a larger scale with Barrick Gold. So Mali has been going tit for tat with this company. Um, the companies obviously come in to mine the gold, and what they do is they'll do the work, and then they'll cut the government off a portion. I believe it was 80%, as much as 80% was actually owned by the Canadian miner itself. And there's been going back and forth, and Mali has been stepping up the pressure. Obviously, Mali is not happy with the payment terms, and they arrested some employees for the company. They even went as far as issuing an arrest warrant late last year for the CEO, Mark Bristow. And now it is escalated to the point now of blatant, I guess they would call it confiscation from the outside world and from a legal perspective, theft. And this is what government do. The government does not create wealth. So pretty much everything the government do is maybe considered a form of theft in one degree or another from a philosophical point of view. But this is theft in a situation that the government made a deal. And you can say the new government don't want to abide by the deal, but a deal was made. They don't like the terms, and now they're just saying, okay, we're just going to take the gold. And to the to the crude mind or someone that thinks on a more rudimentary level, they will say, oh, this is great. Mali's taking back his country. No, this is absolutely horrendous. This is called nationalization. And all it does is it tells other people not to partner with you. It tells them that you don't abide by you're going to renege on your deals, and push come to shove, instead of working out a mutually beneficial arrangement for to continue the relationship, you're just gonna take your ball and go home. And the people, why this is so unfortunate is because development and trade. The reason why we're such proponents of it on this channel is development and trade is the greatest boom and the greatest benefactor to the regular everyday person, right? And I always think about that. I think about how the Zulus fighting the British. And what happened was sub-Saharan Africa, for geographical reasons, had become separated from what many would call the world island, the Eurasian continent. Whereas Europe, the Middle East, and Western Asia, more or less, they were interconnected, and this interconnected bred a form of competition, technological development. One side did not go too far without the other side catching up because they were in the loop. This is what trade does. Trade keeps you keen, it keeps you sharp, it keeps you ready. So the absence of trade, the absence of light is what? Is darkness. And this is why many people alluded to Africa in their early acquaintance with it as the Dark Continent. So much of Africa was so impenetrable and unknown for a geographical region, especially in the sub-Saharan portion. And what you had with the Zulus, you had an army that was significantly disadvantaged because they had not fought warfare, such as the British had fought warfare. Uh, the regiments, the ships, the logistical support, etc., etc., etc. You are dealing with a different type of beast, and this happens anywhere. It's not because one group is superior to another. It is that development. You can say the same thing happened in Japan. A lot of Japan and Russia, the same thing. The people that got the guns first, that engaged in trade first, technologically advanced first, they were able to consolidate power. So it just happened that in South Africa, it was the British in their wars with the Zulus and other tribes as well. So what I'm basically saying is what Mali's doing, it is basically put up a sign that says we're closed for business, and it's going to be to the greatest disadvantage to the everyday Malian citizen. A country at least work with the gold company. At least pick up the technological. This is what you do. You let them open up a university. Let them make Mali a center for metallurgy, the understanding of gold, of mining. That's what you could do, right? You can partner with them and try to figure out different ways. Of course, they're gonna want their pound of flesh. That's trade. It's just like you're gonna want something out the deal. They're gonna want something out the deal. But Mali could have been an oasis of business in West Africa, and now it looks like it's going to be a black hole for business in West Africa. Because when these companies go into these countries, they it's a high risk for them, and without them coming in, are you going to mind and go to Mali? And that's another unfortunate thing is that this is the 21st century, and they haven't even gone beyond. I saw that up to like a quarter of the federal budget was funded by gold alone. So this means when you see raw materials, and I learned that through my creating our geopolitical puzzles we have on this channel, is that you think these countries have resources, so they're rich, but the value actually come in at the higher level of the chain. So when you have a developed country, their exports, they may have gold, they may have iron ore, they may have oil, but what you see at the top of the food chains is things like medical supplies, chemically related products, products that require some refinement to a certain degree. You Refined oil is more valuable than crude oil. So a country, yeah, you can have oil, but does your oil really benefit you if you send it to another country to refine it? You can't even utilize your own oil. And this is where the next economical step is. So in theft, taking of gold is such a low economic behavior, and it's only going to really benefit in the short term the powers that are, and we'll see how long this lasts. Because now Barrick, of course, is talking about they're going to shut down operations within in Mali or suspend operations within Mali. So it's unfortunate, and you compare this confiscation of wealth, and let's look at the outlook of Mali's market over the next year, and compare that to a country like Argentina, where they're trying to put in um, responsible measures to rein in government overreach. So it's unfortunate, and I wish it wasn't going this route. Of course, it was lining up to do so, but I think Africa's really asleep at the wheel right now. The world has changed, and nobody's playing around. And I really don't think the people, because the people knew how much of a disadvantage this was going to put them in, I think they'll be in an uproar. But the military junta has been able to demagogue colonialism, right? Demagogue, it's these empire builders. France, they're the enemy, they're the bad guy. No, the bad guy is ignorance. The bad guy is perpetual darkness, not understanding global trade, not being linked in with global trade, not being able to access global trade. The more the people in Mali can access the global trade in the world, the more products they have, the more options they have, the more informed they'll be and more capable and competent they could be. So that's my thoughts on it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Like, share, subscribe if you enjoy the content. Until next time, take care. Bantu up.